The metallic hum of the fire alarm is enough to send the shivers down the spine of just about anyone, particularly in the villages of Oil Springs and Petrolia. It meant that there was an oil fire, a great conflagration of oil that we didn't know how to put out. This was a particular problem in the 1800s, where we had a new resource that was so new to our understanding, and the threat of fire would terrify us all. According to some of our historians at that time period, A.J. Yates once in particular said there was a careless person who was emptying a bucket of coke into the Black Creek. The Black Creek at this period of time had experienced oil infiltration from the gushers in 1862, and this black coke that was hot from a fire caught the wells on fire. According to Belden's atlas, it looked like a great fiery dragging had filled the valley with smoke and flames. It burned for days down the Black Creek all the way into the Sydenham. This threat of fire was something so new, but such a dangerous hazard. How did you put it out? It took a lot of know-how and some creative thinking to eventually fell several trees, dam the Black Creek, and throw heavy buckets of clay. But that was the first of many fires that threatened these communities. The big one didn't happen for a couple years later, and that was in the village of Petrolia at this time. The King's Wells fire of August 23rd, 1866. There was a careless worker. There seems to be a theme to these, that somebody was walking around, a night watchman with a lantern with an open flame, went to check on one of the rigs. While they were out there, they dropped their lantern and the rig caught fire. Before too many people could get involved, the fire had spread in the oil-saturated environment. The ground was permeated with oil, and the nearby storage tanks caught fire. The oil-soaked staves of the wooden tanks caught fire and burst forth, setting everything ablaze. This was such a catastrophe. It was nighttime. It was dark. Water was in short supply, and the water from nearby wells did have oil in it. So when they threw water on the fire, it fed the flames by providing more fuel. Once the tanks burst forward, oil would gush over the environment and ignite anything it touched. The flames reached a height of 30 feet everywhere in the community, and the black smoke choked any who were in the vicinity. It burned for 2 weeks. The only saving grace of this is that the oil did burn up the excess glut of petroleum that was sitting around depressing the market. But could you imagine the fear of a fire burning uncontrollably for 2 weeks? These threats and fires had existed within the community and still exist today. For a fact, in the 1860s, Petrolia had 2 fire departments. We will discuss this further, and how did they rectify these many different aspects of all of these oil fires that affected this community. What were they doing, and what could they do to prevent this conflagration? We're going to discuss that in future episodes when we look at the innovation of underground storage tanks that would no longer allow oil or lightning strikes to catch the oil drillers and the oil producers unaware within their communities.